Hi everyone, this is Brendan with Cusack Prep, and you're watching this video today because it is the day before the ACT, maybe it's the week before, and you're trying to figure out what you can do to try to get your score up as much as possible with just a few hours to go before you have to go to sleep. Fortunately, I got you covered. The easiest section to increase your score the day before the test or the week before the test is undoubtedly going to be the English section. And that's because it's easy to teach. There are fewer rules in the English section than there are, say, math problems, and it's content-based, unlike the science and reading, which is probably more based off of how well you can read and interpret the passage in the time frame. So what we're going to cover is just a few quick tips, what you can do if you're studying last minute for a test, which is probably tomorrow. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to attempt some practice questions. I recommend trying to do about 30 English questions. This is enough that you're going to get pretty much a taste for every type of question they might ask you on the ACT, especially the more common ones, things like commas, semicolons, colons, dashes, apostrophes, as well as things like non-essential phrases. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and go through those 30 questions, and you want to focus on pacing. For 30 questions on the ACT, you really have about 18 minutes. I would say try to time it for 15. If you can complete 30 questions in 15 minutes, that gives you a good chance of when you take the test tomorrow, not running out of time, or if maybe you're a little bit more nervous when you're taking it, it gives you a bit of a buffer zone. After you do the 30 questions, grade them. Now, depending on how you do, this next advice may need to be changed a little bit. Let's say you answer 30 questions and you get 28 of them correct. If you do that well, you probably want to do maybe another 30 questions, just so you have a decent number of wrong answers to work from. If you're kind of closer to the average, maybe you're someone who's scoring in the low to mid 20s on the ACT, you'll probably miss anywhere from, maybe about 10 questions out of 30 if you're in that range, somewhere between 8 and 12. So you want to just pick 2 or 3 types that you got wrong. See if you can recognize a pattern in those first 30 questions. Did you miss 5 questions related to punctuation, or did you miss 4 or 5 questions related to subject-verb agreement? And this is key. You have to try to understand why you answered them incorrectly. It's not enough to just take a practice test. You really need to be able to critically evaluate yourself. Try to figure out what you did wrong. If the correct answer was a semicolon and you picked a comma, try to understand why it needed to be a semicolon. Were there 2 independent clauses on either side of that semicolon? Was it the case where a comma did not have an appropriate transition word going with it? Was it the case where you didn't need a comma at all? These are questions that you're going to have to be resourceful in trying to find the answer to. Google is a great place. It's absolutely wonderful. So just go ahead, Google how to use a semicolon on the ACT, and pretty much the top 5 websites that pop up are all going to be quality. You can also use YouTube and check. This time I don't have a lot of English videos up, but I'm hoping to upload more in the future. So you can always look for videos that I've produced, or any number of tutors. Khan Academy is great, even the SAT. Verbal section, there's a lot of similarities between the two, so you could take a look at that. Or just any other number of tutors. There's really a lot of great content out there. Now this next part is really important. Based off whatever grammar question, whatever punctuation error that you missed, you want to try to write 3 sentences that correctly utilize the punctuation that you did not use correctly the previous time, or perhaps you messed up a preposition or a phrase or subject-verb agreement, maybe messed subject-verb up because it was separated by a non-essential phrase. These are all things that you're going to learn as you Google these topics. Write 3 sentences and try to make them very similar to what you had missed in the test book. So if you have a question that had an independent clause, a comma, and then another independent clause, an independent clause is a complete sentence, try to write a few sentences that are like that, recognize the error, and also write the correct form of it. After you've done this, go ahead and attempt 30 more questions and really try to focus anytime that particular error came up. You're going to find this helpful. It's going to give you the opportunity to reinforce what you just learned, and also seeing it in a mixed variety of questions. Now, if you're cramming, there's a good chance you may have to take it again, which is fine. And most people take it more than once. Some people I've even heard taking up to 7 or 8 times. I usually say 3 or 4 is the right number. And what you can use going forward is this self-evaluation form. So when you're self-evaluating, pick the practice test, write the question that was missed, and ask yourself, why did you miss this problem? What was it that made you pick answer choice, say F, when the right answer was J? What were you mistaken about? What rule did you not understand? What did you miss? And then list some notes as to what you're going to look for next time to make sure you don't miss a similar problem that shows up on test day. You can use the self-evaluation form if you're cramming as well. Just try not to do it for the whole test. You're just going to exhaust yourself, and you're probably not going to be able to retain everything. It's better just to focus on 2 or 3 topics if you're really cramming last minute, and try to perfect those areas. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helps. I hope you're able to gain 2 extra points on your English section using these study techniques, and hopefully that'll push you just over the edge and get you in the college that you want to go to. Thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. If you like the videos, feel free to like and subscribe.